Hey guys, this is Crive coming to you with another commentary, and this time about Ara-Kara on the plus 20 level. We're gonna go over many interesting questions in this video, like how do I heal and deal with the crawlers here before the first boss, with the poisons that they put on the group. How do I space my cooldowns on the first boss? How do I position on the last boss, and how do I optimally heal the poisons there? We're also going to talk about tricks. How do I make the blood guards? How do I convert them into a target dummy that doesn't even cast the AoE on the last boss? How do I skip the cosmic singularity suck-in completely and avoid being hit by it or having to stand in a puddle? And many more tips and tricks. And in order to address all these questions, I've structured this video in 3 parts. First, we are talking about the talents. Then I'm going to go over possible routings and my opinions on the route. And then lastly, we are going to talk about the gameplay, and I'm going to look at my Ara-Kara 20 that I recorded here. So let's first talk about the talents. I'm going to talk about the left side, the right side, and then our talent tree. On the left side, we have basically 2 options. One option is to play into Clobbering Sweep. The main reason why you would play this talent is to knock up the stack shells. That's the mobs after the second boss, that when you don't stun them, they convert themselves or they transform into a blood guard. So you want to CC them. Usually the DK is doing that because he has so many CCs. He has like the single target stun, he has his 2 grips, and he has his blinding sleeve. But if you don't play with a class who can solo them, it can be useful to pick it up. I would choose not to pick it up if you're playing with a DK, because then you can just do more damage. One other option that you can do, that depends on the routing that your team decides on, is to play into Spatial Paradox. There's a trick that you can do with Spatial Paradox, and this trick is regarding the second boss. So if we jump here to this pack here at the second boss, there's a trick that when you stand here in the spot where my mouse is right now, and you attack boss with Spatial Paradox active, and you can reach him if you have this talent active, then the boss will put a poison on you. You need to pass a defensive to survive the poison, but afterwards he's gonna teleport your whole team into this boss room, and this way you can skip this blood guard that's here on the right and go straight to the boss. So that's all I can tell you about regarding the left side of the tree. On the right side of the tree, we have a couple options as well. Either we play Flow State, and what this allows you to do is to do more damage. You can also play into Exhilarating Burst, obviously for more healing, or you can play into Just in Time. The reason why you would play Just in Time is basically only for your tank and only for the last part of the dungeon, because as you will see, we are playing these pulls in the last part of the dungeon, and that's 3 Overseers and quite a lot of drones on the tank, and that can be a difficult pull, because this pull will be a long pull, so most tanks will at some point run out of their defensive cooldowns, and then they potentially die. So you want to help your tank there, and one way you can do this is by playing double TD. So this would be one reason to pick up double TD. If you're confident in your tank though, and you're also just like me thinking, I don't want to play double TD just for this one pull in the key, then you can also play into more damage. And as you see, or as you will see in this key, we're actually timing this key with only 1 second left. It was actually quite important for me to play Flow State just to have a bit more damage. Now, regarding routing, there's a couple options. We played a different route than what I'm showing you right now, but I think this is at the moment the most optimal route. And the reason why it's the most optimal is because you're reducing the number of pulls drastically. You have like a low number of pulls, and you're navigating especially the second area here in only 3 pulls. You're gonna play this pull here at the start, then pull 7, then a quick pull 8, and then you're gonna chain pull 9 after you kill the casters and the stack shell straight into G48. And by doing this, you're skipping this pull, which is quite annoying because you have to kill the caster, like 1 extra caster and 1 stack shell here. And the reason why you want to skip this is because you can't play 2 stack shells at the same time. I mean, you can, but it's quite annoying, and you need to have a lot of concentration from your DPS and from yourselves to stop 2 stack shells, and also because of the caster. You would want to chain this with this pull, and you can't do that because then you would have 3 casters, which is quite difficult. So you want to skip this. Pull. Anyway, let's go straight into my key. I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible and only talk about the important points. If you have any questions that I didn't address, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will try to answer your questions. So let's go straight in. One thing I'm doing here at the start that can be helpful, and that is that I'm picking up this silk here before the key starts. You will notice that if you pick the silk up before the key starts, you will keep it in the key, and then you can use it on the first mini boss. And especially if you use oppressing roar before you activate it, the stun will be 15 seconds, and this will make the first pull a lot easier. So now I'm skipping ahead here. What we're doing at the start is obviously running down the stairs. And one thing I want you to do here at the start, or one thing that could help you a lot, is to always keep pace with your tank. You don't want to fall behind, because these smallies that are behind the tank here, he just touched them basically. He doesn't have much aggro. He only has aggro because he ran past them. But as soon as you start healing, you're gonna grab healing aggro. So if you stand here and you wait, you will get aggro. I can promise you that. So the way you want to counteract this is by always being with the tank, like on the tank, maybe even a little bit ahead of the tank, but you don't want to pull for him. You just want to be like near him. And you also want to press your defensives here. So what you see me do here is I'm instantly like pressing my defensive here. I'm pressing my instant heals, which is like Echoes and Verdant Embrace. And I'm also at some point sending Lumithors when a group is dropping. So here right now I'm sending Lumithors. And then your positioning in the first pull is quite important. You want to position here right near the mini boss. And the reason why this is so important is that all these smallies, they're all gonna come in. And if you stand in ranged, if you're staying here and you're staying in the back, maybe because you want to aim a Dream Breath, then they're all gonna converge onto you. And the tank has no way of getting aggro, because the tank needs to be in melee of the mini-boss. If the tank is not in melee of the mini-boss, the mini-boss will start meleeing random DPS. So he can never come out to you and grab the aggro from you. So what you want to do is you want to be in melee of the tank, or like near the tank. So whenever there's a small flyer or a small spider coming in, it will obviously hit you, it will come into melee, but then the tank can just move out, do like one quick AoE and grab them from you. So that's exactly what you're seeing here. I'm moving as close as possible to the tank. I'm pressing my TD on myself just so I can survive a little bit better. And now I make this pull look quite easy. I bet from your perspective it's like, oh, nothing is happening. In my pulls, this is usually quite hard. And the reason why it's quite easy is because I'm standing in melee and my tank can easily grab aggro here. So much about this pull. Then we move on to the second pull, and it's quite a dangerous pull because we have 3 crawlers here and we have more crawlers coming here, extra 3 crawlers, and then in the back we chained the first 2 crawlers here, and we basically have like, I think 8 or 9 crawlers here, and they're all gonna put poison in the group. And the way you will deal with this is by literally emptying your whole spellbook here, but you want to try to stagger your cooldown. So at first, if you're in your tier set, you want to make use of that. Afterwards, you can send your Emerald Communion. Afterwards, you might get your stasis back, so you can send your stasis. Then you can send your Lumithors, and so on. So you can go into this pull, into this dangerous pull, with the mindset that you're going to be fine, because you can empty your whole spellbook and it's going to be fine. Then I also want you to pay attention to your own health bar a lot in this pull, because your mastery, to keep your mastery active, is quite important in this pull. You want to always try to keep yourself higher health than the rest of the group to keep your mastery active. So you're actually going to prio the spell yourself, unless there's 2 spells. There's 2 situations where you want to dispel yourself, or when you want to use the spell in this pull. One is that someone gets more than 2 stacks, or like 2 stacks or more. So whenever you see 2 stacks, you're going to dispel. Obviously, when someone gets 3 or 4 stacks, you're going to dispel. But otherwise, you're going to hold your dispel or use it on yourself. And the reason for that is that you want to stay higher health than the rest of the group. That's also why you would want to press time dilation on yourself or your own defensive. And then, as I told you, don't be afraid to empty your whole spellbook, use Emerald Communion, use everything, because I can promise you, you will get it back for this next mini boss. So here for this mini boss, for this AoE, when we started, I have my Tip the Scales back. I have my stasis back that I sent here. You will get all your cooldowns back. Don't worry about sending it in the previous pull to help heal the poisons. And then on this AoE, you will just always want to use something small. On each AoE, here I'm using Tip the Scales. I'm charging up a stasis. On the second one, I'm releasing the stasis. On the third one, I'm using Spirit Bloom and then using Zephyr or something like that. You want to always combine your Spirit Bloom plus a Zephyr, Spirit Bloom plus Lumithors, or Tip the Scales always have something, so a small cooldown on each AoE. Then we're going into the third pull, and the third pull, or like this fourth pull, depending on how you route, is quite dangerous, but only at the start. And the reason why it's dangerous at the start is these flyers. They put bleeds on the group. So this pull, on pull, is one really dangerous situation. And what you want to do on pull here is to keep your group really safe by using your Lumithors, by pressing tip the scales. You can even send Emerald Communion here at the start if you feel like your group is dropping. Don't be afraid to send all your cooldowns here. You will get them back for the boss. Same situation as with the spiders. Don't worry about your cooldowns here. Send them all on pull and make it look easy for your team. Then we go to the boss, and I'm gonna show you how you can heal this boss. Cooldown spacing is a major theme of this boss. The boss does so much damage. Like in a short cadence, you have to use a healing cooldown for the Shrill, but you also have to use a healing cooldown for the Gossamer Onslaught. So it's easy to run out of healing cooldowns, and to avoid yourself running out of healing cooldowns, I'm going to show you some tricks how you can avoid that. And that is by using short cooldowns first. Use your tip to scales first. So what you see me do here is, on the first AoE, I'm using tip to scales. And at the same time, I'm charging up a stasis. And then for the Gossamer Onslaught right after, I can, for example, release the stasis. Then, when we get... I don't want to skip ahead here, because I can only skip ahead 30 seconds, and then I'm going to be past the alerting shrill, I guess, but I can maybe skip ahead and go back. So here, that's the second alerting shrill. So I just healed the first AoE with tip to scales. Then the intermission, I should have healed with stasis. I was greedy though, I held the stasis. I healed it differently by using my tier set and my renewing blaze, but you don't have to do that. You could just release the stasis in the intermission. And then for this AoE, for the second alerting shrill, you want to always have like a lifeline combo on every shrill, by the way. On every shrill, on every Gossamer Onslaught, always do a lifeline combo. And then use your Spirit Bloom plus something. Every alerting shrill needs you to use something extra. Use, in this case, your Lumithors. The reason why you want to prioritize Lumithors over your Zephyr is that it's shorter cooldown. Zephyr is 2 minutes, Lumithors is 1.5. You'll use your Lumithors first. I'm going to use a life bind here, and then I'm going to press my Lumithors, and I fucked up the life bind. Don't copy me here, that was a mistake. But I pressed Lumithors. And then for the second Gossamer Onslaught, I have my tip to scales. It's going to come back. I'm going to use tip to scales. I'm going to skip ahead again here. Here, this is the third alerting shrill. What am I going to use here? I'm going to use my Zephyr plus my Spirit Bloom. Then for the next Gossamer Onslaught, I can use my Emerald Communion. And then now for this next alerting shrill, I get my tip to scales back. And you see there's a pattern. I'm always having some kind of cooldown for every single situation, because I'm rotating my cooldowns. I'm using short cooldowns first, using tip to scales here. And then for this next Gossamer Onslaught, I would use my rewind, for example. And then we have one of the last alerting shrills here. And you see I have my Lumithors back. So I'm using Life Bind and my Spirit Bloom and Lumithors. And at the end of the boss fight, I even have my Emerald Communion. And I even have my rewind, because I just spaced out my cooldowns in an efficient way. And you can do the same. If you space your cooldowns in an efficient way, if you use short cooldowns first, then you can heal this boss forever, and you won't struggle at all. Anyway, one thing you want to do after this first boss is pick up the Silk. I think you can orient yourself. I'm here at the start. I picked up the Silk, and the reason why I'm picking it up is because I want to stun the next Bloodguard. So I'm skipping ahead here to the Bloodguard. And what you want to do here is you're going to wait for the first tick of his AoE. So here you see he cast Locust Swarm. You want to wait for the first tick, and then you want to stun him with the Silk. And what this does is that it converts him into a target. I mean, he won't recast his Swarm anymore. So this guy is only doing his frontal. He's never going to AoE again. You basically avoided him being a dangerous mob for the whole rest of his life in this pull. But this pull is not over. This is still a dangerous pull, and the reason are these Bloodworkers. And they are quite a few, especially if you pull extra here. If you pull this other pull that we just pulled here with the Stack Shell, that's 4 extra Bloodworkers. And so in this pull, there's like, I think, over 10 Bloodworkers, and they're charging your teammates. And if you have like 5 charges on the same person, that person will die 100%, even in a 20. Like, I've had situations where I got one shot, 90 to 0. 90% health to 0. So in order to counteract this, what you want to do is to have double reversion on everybody and perma dream breath on everybody. Like keep double dream breath, keep double reversions on your whole group. You want to keep your group perma topped. And that's what you see me do here. I'm keeping double dream breath, double reversion, and I'm just trying to keep my group as topped as possible here. And that's basically the whole area, because these next polls, I don't think we need to talk about them. I want to keep the video short. I could talk about them. Give me feedback. Comment in the comments. I feel like my video is a bit too long. I want to keep them shorter. So if you feel like you want to have more in-depth commentary, even about polls like these, give me a comment. Otherwise, I'm going to keep this video short and to the point. So here, we're going to skip ahead. We're going to go to this Blood Guard. How do you heal them? They're quite dangerous to heal, or they're quite dangerous mobs, especially if you have Blood Workers on top that are charging enemies. And the way that I'm choosing to heal this is by using a Life Bind. The Locust Swarm, it lasts 8 seconds. So the first 5 seconds, I'm choosing to heal with a Life Bind. I'm pressing stasis. You should have your stasis ready here. You should have all your cooldowns here, because the pulls before are not dangerous. There's only tank damage and casts going through, and you don't really need to use one of your healing cooldowns for casts going through, or your tank healing. So you should all have them already here, and then you can use a Life Bind. You see I activated my Life Bind. I'm pressing stasis. I'm pressing Tip the Scale, Spirit Bloom, TA, Dream Breath. So in the stasis is my Spirit Bloom and TA plus Dream Breath. And then I'm going to be fine for the first 5 seconds. And then when my Life Bind runs out here, you see 2.5 seconds left. You can choose to release the stasis if your group is dropping. But in my case, my group is not dropping, so I'm not releasing the stasis. I'm feeling safe here. I'm feeling fine here. And then for the second AoE, which is coming like after 20 seconds, you can then release your stasis and press rewind right after. So for the first like 5 seconds, you have your Life Bind again, and you're gonna be fine. And then you can, for example, rewind right after, or you can just press a Spirit Bloom right after. That's up to you. Then one trick about this boss here is that you should bait. Ideally, you're a really good baiter for your team on this boss. You should bait the frontals, or like these charges for your team. And there's actually a position that's really good for your melee uptime. And that's what you're gonna see me do here. I'm baiting on this tip here. This tip is really good to bait on, because the boss stops exactly here on this mark on the ground. And if your team plays the boss in the middle, we pulled it a bit to the side here, but if your team plays the boss in the middle here, and you charge it then to this tip, then the boss is basically moving almost no space. So the melees can keep perfect uptime, and you will kill this boss a lot faster. So what you see me do here is I'm baiting the charge here, and ideally you would hover out. There's actually a science to this. There's like a timing to this. I'm gonna skip ahead, and I'm gonna try to show you this timing for the charge. Let's see here. Oh, it's an Azotharian. Maybe I can find like a timing where the charge is on me. It's an Azotharian again. I guess he won't let me. He won't let me charge. He did all of them. But if this burrowing charge is on you, you want to wait until the cast bar is at the end, and only then, when he finished his cast bar, then he's gonna charge. This cast bar is basically only showing his lock on. He's locking onto you, and then when it finishes, then he starts charging. So when he finishes, then you want to hover out, because then you're dodging the charge, but the boss dies here. And a second tip I can give you on this boss, if you're struggling with single target healing, in my Discord, check out my Discord, that's linked below, is a document. There's a healing guide. You will find a channel healing guide, and there's a document in there, a guide on healing in general, but you will find a section on single target healing, and there are the best single target healing combos. So if you're struggling with keeping your DPS alive here, because you're not sure about single target healing combos, check out this document, check out this guide in my Discord. It's gonna show you how to single target heal. Then one other tip I can show you for this boss, or I can give you for this boss, that's regarding the trash. Because if you're playing this with a puck, you will see there's lots of these ads spawning, these web mages, and they can be quite dangerous, especially if they're like 2 or 3 up at the same time. And one way you can help your team with these web mages is if you hold your tip the scales, because as you know, your tier set this season makes your living flame split into 3. And one way you can help your team here is by killing them quicker. And that's why I'm holding my tip the scales until the first of those spawns. And then I'm just spamming Living Flame, and I'm just hitting all 3 of them. I'm hitting the boss, I'm hitting the 2 web mages, and this way I'm just helping my team to kill those web mages way faster. And because they're not up for a long time, they don't do as many casts, and there are no dangerous overlaps of the cast happening with like a dot, for example. So keep your tip to scales for the first web mage to spawn, and then send your tip to scales and just keep Living Flaming, and your team will have a much easier time dealing with those ads. Then we come to this next pull here, and it's the pulls with the overseers and the drones. And the important part the important information about dealing with this pull is to dispel your tank on cooldown. It's like your job in this pull. What these drones do is they attack your tank, and each time they attack, they also stack up a debuff on your tank. And this debuff slows your tank, but it also makes him take a lot more damage. So your job as a healer is to keep your tank, like, spell him when he has around 10 stacks of this debuff. For me, this is quite easy here in this pull, because my tank is a paladin, and he's blocking or parrying, I think one of the two. He's blocking a lot of their attacks, so his debuff is not stacking up that quickly. But for example, for a warrior or any other tank, this debuff will stack up insanely fast, and you will have to be on your tiptoes. You will have to be ready to dispel him quickly. And there's a couple tips I can give you here on how to deal with this debuff, how to dispel the tank in an efficient way. And one way is to store the spell in your stasis. If you press stasis and then you dispel your tank and you just keep healing him, and the debuff stacks up again to 10, you dispel him, and then he stacks up to 10 again, and you don't have your dispel ready, then you can release your stasis and get rid of the debuff. Another way to get rid of the debuff is to use rescue on your tank, because rescue also removes snares and slows. So whenever you don't have your dispel ready, just use a rescue on your tank to remove the debuffs. Then one last tip I can give you is track the defensives of your tank in this pull. This is quite a dangerous pull. It's a pull that usually lives a long time. And one way you can help your tank here is to give him time dilation when he ran out of cooldown. So in this case, my tank would like use his bubble. He's using that right now. Afterwards, he probably will use his Ardent Defender, and then he will use his Guardian. But after his Guardian, he will probably have no defensive left, and he would die. So in this case, you would just want to track the defensives of your tank, and then when he is out of defensives, you can knock these drones back. So I would try to walk behind the tank and then use my wing buffet to knock the drones away from him, because these overseers, they're not that dangerous. The overseers are fine. What's dangerous are the drones, these like 10 drones on the tank at the same time. So what you can do there is like knock them away from behind him, use a deep breath to stun them, and give your tank some breathing room. Other than that, one other dangerous part are these flyers. Like right now, we pulled in these winged carriers, and they're coming into the pull right now. And the dangerous part is when only one person pulls them. Like for example, when you as a healer pull them, then you're the only one in combat with these winged carriers. And then they're all gonna charge you and basically kill you, because all 5 or 6 are gonna charge you. And in a 20, only if 3 charge you, you're dead. If you have like defensives running and 3 are charging you, you're instantly dead. So you can imagine if 5 are charging you, even in a 16, you're completely dead. So one way to counteract this is that when you're pulling them, try to press Lumithars, press your defensive, maybe even like rescue someone to get the shield or something. But otherwise, try to get in combat with as many as, like, try to make your team get in combat with all of them at the same time. That's not only on you, that's also on your team, but you can communicate this, that your team needs to be in combat with all of them, and then they're quite okay to deal with. Anyway, let's skip to the last boss. There's a couple tricks that you can do positioning-wise. Try to position in the middle. If you're positioning in the middle, like I'm doing here, even if like one range is standing to the right and one is standing to the left and one is like behind me, I'm still in range of all of them. Don't position to the sides. If you're positioning here in the corners or to the right side, then you might have issues with range. Then maybe your range is like on this side, you're on this side, you won't be in range to heal them. One other trick here on this boss, or one other tip I can give you, is to always dispel yourself first, unless you have Renewing Blaze. Keep in mind, when you have Renewing Blaze up, use this as a resource. When the debuffs come out and you have Renewing Blaze up, press Renewing Blaze and dispel someone else. Then there's another trick I can give you, is you can store Dispel in your stasis. If you have your Dispel ready and there's no poisons on the group, press Dispel 3 times store 3 dispels on your stasis, and then when the next poisons come out, obviously wait and look if everybody's safe, especially in melee. Like, don't insta-dispel, because you can kill your tank and you can kill the melees. But give them like 2 seconds or 1 second, and then you can release the stasis and dispel your whole group. Otherwise, there's a couple tricks I can give you regarding skipping the Cosmic Singularity. This is sucking you in, and there's actually 3 ways that you can use to avoid the Cosmic Singularity. One way is a trick that I'm going to show you here right at the start. I'm going to get sucked in here, and I'm going to use my deep breath. Look, if you deep breath at the perfect timing, you skip the suck in. One other way you can skip the Cosmic Singularity suck in is to use Emerald Communion, but care that you don't use your hover before, because if you hover before, you're mobile, then the boss can still suck you in. But if you don't have your hover active, if you just stand still and you then press your Emerald Communion, it will basically block the suck in, and you will just keep standing where you're standing, and you can be safe in this way. Then there's a third way that you can skip this Cosmic Singularity, and that's by using hover at the perfect moment. I'm not doing this here in this example or in this run, because it can fail. You can be wrong with your timing, and I'm confident that my team can still time this key without me doing this trick, and you're not gaining that much by doing this trick, but it's cool for style points, and it's cool if you for some reason don't find a puddle, then you can still do it. And here, for example, I'm losing DPS because I'm out of range. So if I did this trick here, I would probably gain like valuable DPS uptime. But the way you would hover is basically that you track the cast time of Cosmic Singularity. So here I can see 2.5 seconds left. I also wrote a weak aura. It's in my weak aura pack. So if you use my weak aura pack, you will also get this extra bar. It's this pink bar here at the bottom. And I inserted a tick here, this black bar. And you want to basically hover when this bar reaches this black tick, which is at around half a second left. So you're gonna wait until the boss cast reaches half a second left, and then you wanna hover out. You wanna press W. Remember to press W, so your hover doesn't hover you in place, but hovers you out. And if you press hover in this way, then you will also skip the suck in, and you won't get hit even if you're not standing in a puddle. Regarding the poisons, keep in mind you can also use your Cauterizing Flame to dispel it, and otherwise I would just always use a Spirit Bloom, like dispel one person and then charge up a Spirit Bloom on the other people that still have the poison on them. I think healing wise this is not too hard of a boss, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. Alright, and that's all the tips I want to share with you for this key. We actually had a quite close call in this key. As you remember, I played Flow State for more DPS, and as you can see, we're timing this key. If you check the timer here at the top right, we're timing this key with 1 second left. So it was actually important that I did a bit more DPS with Flow State. Alright, thank you for watching. One thing I want you to ask is to check out my Discord. It's linked down below. It's like a class Discord for Preservation Evoker in M+. And there you will find lots of resources, lots of guides, about how to heal, about single target healing, AoE healing, stasis combos that are very unknown that most people don't use. Also tips and tricks, just like here in the last boss where I showed you how you can skip the Cosmic Singularity. There are skips, there are workarounds for other keys, and there's actually channels with guides that you can find that are exactly about this. There's lots of little tricks and tips for the season for multiple dungeons that I share with you there. Alright, then to wrap it up, thank you for watching, and I'm wishing you clean keys and clear skies, and see you in the next video.